Welcome back. If you missed part 1, stop right now and go watch it, because what you're about to hear will only make sense if you know the whole story. When we left off, Sarah had just confronted Mark with evidence of his secret second family. Now let's dive into what happened in that room. And trust me, you're not prepared for where this story goes. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Mark sat on the couch, his face ashen, his hands trembling. Sarah remained perfectly still, her eyes locked on his, waiting. She'd spent 3 days preparing for this moment. She wouldn't waste it on emotion. Not yet. "Start talking," she said. "And if I even suspect you're lying, if I catch one more lie from your mouth, I'm calling the police right now. Bigamy is a felony, Mark. You could go to prison. So choose your words very carefully." Mark's hands clasped together, knuckles white. "It started 8 years ago," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "At a conference in Chicago. I met Emily at the hotel bar. We started talking. She was funny, smart, beautiful. We connected in a way I hadn't felt in years." Sarah's jaw clenched, but she didn't interrupt. "It was supposed to be one night, just one mistake, but then we kept in touch. She lived in Chicago. I was there so often for work. We started meeting up. It became an affair. I know that's terrible, but it's the truth. For a year, it was just an affair. And then," Sarah's voice was ice. "Then she got pregnant." Mark's face crumpled. "She told me, and I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't lose my family. But I also couldn't abandon Emily and the baby. So I made a choice. The worst choice. I decided to try to have both." "You decided to play God with all our lives." "I told Emily I was divorced, that I had kids from my previous marriage, but they lived with their mother. I said I'd traveled for work, which was true. I got an apartment in Chicago. I started spending every other weekend there. I told you the company needed me there more. You never questioned it." Sarah's fists clenched. "Don't you dare blame me for trusting my husband." "I'm not. I'm just telling you how it happened. Emily and we got close. When Jackson was born, I was there. I held my son. I fell in love with him. And I fell in love with Emily, too. Not in a way that erased what I felt for you. It was different. Like I was two different people living two different lives." "You married her?" Mark nodded, tears streaming down his face now. 3 months after Jackson was born. She wanted to get married before she'd consider having another baby. I couldn't tell her about you, so I married her. I used fake documents. I told her my divorce wasn't finalized yet, but we could do a ceremony and make it legal later. Then we actually went through with a legal ceremony. I signed the papers. I became a bigamist. And you just kept going. More children, more lies. Sophie, the toddler I saw in the photos. Sophie is 6 now. The toddler is Madison. She's almost 3. Mark's voice broke completely. "I have 6 children, Sarah. I love all of them. I never wanted any of this to hurt anyone." Sarah laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You never wanted it to hurt anyone. Are you insane? You destroyed 2 families. You stole 15 years of my life. You stole money from our children's future to support your fantasy life. I was going to pay it back. I got a big promotion last year. I was making more money. I was going to replace everything I took. You took $200,000 from our savings, Mark, our children's college fund, money we'd been saving since before Emma was born. How were you going to replace that?" Mark had no answer. He just sat there, crying, the weight of his deceptions finally crushing him. Sarah picked up the life insurance policy. "Explain this. Why did you take out $1.5 million policy on my life 6 months ago?" Mark's eyes went wide. No, Sarah, that's not what you think. My financial advisor recommended it. He said with 3 kids and a mortgage, we needed more coverage. I took one out on myself, too. It's standard financial planning. Show me the policy on yourself. Mark pulled out his phone with shaking hands. He opened his email and showed her. Sure enough, there was a policy on his life for the same amount, with Sarah as the beneficiary. But the seed of doubt had been planted. Could she ever believe anything he said again? Did Emily know? Sarah asked. Did she know about me? No, God no. She thinks she's my only wife. She thinks you're my ex. She has no idea.
She's going to find out. I'm calling her tomorrow. Mark's face went pale. Sarah, please, don't do that. You'll destroy her. Think about her children. I am thinking about them. They deserve to know their father is a liar, just like my children deserve to know. You did this, Mark, not me. You destroyed these families. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. The confrontation continued for hours. Mark tried everything. He begged for forgiveness. He claimed he loved both of them equally. He said he was planning to tell the truth eventually. He just needed more time. He offered to go to therapy, to do whatever it took to fix things. But some things can't be fixed. Trust, once shattered, can't be glued back together. Love, once poisoned with betrayal, can't be purified. Sarah listened to everything he said, and with each word she felt the last remnants of her love for him die. When the sun started to rise, Sarah finally spoke. Get out. Pack a bag and get out of this house. You have 1 hour. If you're not gone by then, I'm calling the police and having you arrested for bigamy. Sarah, please. Where will I go? I don't care. Go to a hotel. Go to Emily if you want. Tell her the truth and see how she reacts, but you're not staying here another minute. Mark stood on shaky legs. What about the kids? What are you going to tell them? The truth? Age-appropriate versions, but the truth. They deserve that much. Can I say goodbye to them? Sarah considered this. Despite everything, Mark was still their father. You can see them tomorrow, supervised, at my mother's house. But I'm telling them everything first. I won't let you manipulate them with more lies. Mark nodded, defeated. He walked upstairs like a man going to his own execution. Sarah heard him moving around in their bedroom, packing a bag. 20 minutes later, he came back downstairs with a suitcase and his laptop bag. He paused at the door. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am truly, genuinely sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. You made a choice, Mark. Every day for 8 years, you made the choice to keep lying. That wasn't an accident. That was who you are. He left without another word. Sarah stood in the empty house, surrounded by the evidence of her husband's betrayal, and felt nothing. The anger had burned itself out. The grief had exhausted itself. She was hollow, empty, a shell of the woman she'd been just 3 days ago. But she couldn't stay hollow. She had children who needed her. She had a life to rebuild. So she started making calls. First, she called Emily. That conversation was brief and brutal. Sarah explained who she was, sent photos of her marriage certificate and family photos with timestamps proving she'd been married to Mark first, and listened to Emily's world collapse over the phone. Emily screamed, cried, cursed Mark's name, and then hung up. Sarah felt terrible for her, but Emily needed to know the truth.
Next, Sarah called a divorce attorney. Not just any attorney, but the best family law attorney in the state. She wanted to bury Mark legally. She filed for divorce, citing adultery and fraud. She also contacted the district attorney's office about pressing bigamy charges. The legal proceedings were swift and merciless. Mark tried to fight for custody, but the bigamy charge destroyed his credibility. He tried to fight for a fair division of assets, but Sarah's attorney proved he'd been systematically stealing from their joint accounts to support his other family. The judge was not sympathetic. Emily filed for annulment in Illinois, claiming fraud. Her marriage to Mark was declared invalid since he was already married to Sarah. Emily also sued Mark for fraud and emotional damages. Between the two families, Mark faced legal and financial ruin. The story broke in the local news. Local business executive charged with bigamy after maintaining two families for 8 years. Mark's employer, a prestigious consulting firm that valued reputation above all else, terminated him immediately. His professional life, like his personal life, imploded overnight. Sarah's children struggled. Emma, the oldest, was angry and betrayed. She refused to see Mark for months. Jake, the middle child, was confused and hurt. He kept asking why Daddy would lie. Lily just cried and asked when Daddy was coming home. Sarah got them all into therapy. She answered their questions as honestly as she could. She never spoke ill of Mark in front of them, even though she wanted to. They needed to process their own feelings about their father without her influence. Mark eventually pleaded guilty to bigamy and fraud charges. He served 18 months in prison. When he got out, he tried to rebuild relationships with his children, but the damage was done. Emma wanted nothing to do with him. Jake saw him occasionally, but their relationship was strained. Lily was too young to fully understand what had happened, which was perhaps a mercy. Emily moved back to her hometown with her children. She and Sarah eventually talked on the phone. They weren't friends, couldn't be friends, but they had a mutual understanding. They'd both been victims of the same master manipulator. They'd both loved a man who didn't exist. As for Sarah, recovery was slow. She sold the house. Too many memories, too many lies embedded in every room. She bought a smaller place, something that was truly hers. She went back to school and got her master's degree. She threw herself into her career. She focused on her children and on rebuilding her sense of self. 3 years later, Sarah is thriving. She's a successful marketing director. Her kids are doing well. Emma's in high school now, planning for college. Jake plays baseball and has mostly forgiven his father, though their relationship will never be what it was. Lily doesn't remember much about the time before the divorce, which Sarah considers a blessing. Sarah has even started dating again, though she's cautious. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. But she's learning that not every man is Mark. Not every person is a liar. Some people are genuine. Some love is real. Mark? He's alone now. Both families want nothing to do with him. He lost his career, his reputation, and most importantly, the trust and love of his children. He sends letters occasionally to Sarah and Emily and his kids. Most go unanswered. He's living with the consequences of his choices, and those consequences are severe and permanent. Sarah's message to anyone watching this is simple. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. Don't make excuses for suspicious behavior. Don't rationalize red flags. And if you discover you've been betrayed, know that you can survive it. It won't be easy. It will hurt more than you think possible. But you can survive, and you can rebuild, and you can eventually thrive. Mark's second message is even simpler. Lies always come out. Always. No matter how clever you think you are, no matter how careful, the truth will eventually surface. And when it does, you'll lose everything. Thank you for watching this story. If it resonated with you, please share it. Someone out there might need to hear this. Stay strong, stay aware, and never ignore those warning signs. Your intuition is usually right.